Greetings, welcome to my brand new video. This video is going to be a bit different because I'm about to expose you to one of my fears, and those fear is just one of many for others. But the only difference for me is that I'm taking a huge action in it and not just letting it to remain in my body. For a lot of us, it's really hard to overcome our fears, especially when you are doing it alone. And that is one of the few things that you have to bear. And if you don't, then you will eventually just rely on somebody else and lose faith in everything. Because that's what I'm facing. You need to come to a realization that if you have a problem, then 99% of the time, or just even 80% of the time, you have to solve that. And it's not something that others will just sugarcoat you with it or just tell you the answers immediately until you sweat. And greetings! I'm finally back from my long distance from the camera. And the reason for that is because I've been actually trying to get rid of one of my fears that have been in my heart for so long that I couldn't really let that slide. And the topic that I'm about to discuss is going to be about swimming. Now, it's really common to be honest, but for some people, it could be one of the most feared activities or sports or just in itself a pastime to do. Because if you actually think about it, your body and your whole spirit is just now in a different kind of a gravitation. And when we think about that, we tend to just be scared or frightened by the idea of just drowning. And why it's not an easy task to do? Well, I can just point out a lot of things. And especially that because somebody just maybe never done sports, or even if it's just an easy sport, it still requires some huge amount of skills when you are young. And when some people don't get that kind of teachings or lectures or doctrines or anything, then they tend to just have the disadvantages of swimming. I can boast of with my excellence in many sports, but there's one that I can't. I can't really be that kind of a naive, and that is swimming. Still, regardless of how easy does it look like, and you just have to relax your body. But if you don't have that instincts, and your muscles will just tense up, and you won't be able to move, then there's nothing you can do. But let me not just get into these whole kind of aspects in swimming, and let me dive into my own story because that's more important. A brief and short explanation is coming. Now let me just get straight to the point because why would I waste your time? So I'm between 10 years old and 12 years old, and we have that kind of period in school where we just have swimming class instead of a regular PE. And now, I don't really know not much about swimming. Like, I was so neutral about it that I couldn't think of the downsides and the benefits or anything else. So we were hopping on the bus, nothing special. I get dressed, I get changed, and as soon as I get into the water, the first thing that I notice is that the temperature is not in my favor, and that already is now a red flag for me. Okay, so I'm just listening to the coach, and even the saying and the sounds and all the amount of energy that I had to put in such is now a second red flag for me. Okay, so everybody is having just excellence in doing this. Expect me. There may be some other people. But I couldn't care less. And all I'm trying to say here is that even though no matter how hard I tried to focus on and to just really get down the teeny tiny greedy details, I just still couldn't keep up myself because I had the freestyle kind of swimming. But when we just get into the whole type of breathing, then I just couldn't do that. I always had to stand up and then rest for a bit and then move again. So I would just move, come back up in a vertical way, and then move again. And it was something that I didn't know that it will just be so painful to have it in myself. And years passed, and I just didn't think about swimming at all. I thought, it's not a useful skill, and I'm probably not going to need it in my real life. But it happened this summer when me and my friends decided to just jump in a swimming pool and just to have some different kind of fun. And as soon as I got into the pool, I already had the nervousness and anxiety of just falling to the bottom because we were in a deep and not a shallow water. So already, all I was trying to do is to stay up, but I couldn't. And then I realized that some of my childhood memories came back, and I knew, I just knew that this had to be fixed. Okay, so the day after that, I didn't really think about it that much, but soon after that, we already arranged another day of swimming. It was kind of light. I was trying to learn how to stay afloat and do the backstroke. That's the first thing that they taught me because it didn't require the breath control. But I realized that that was really crucial for me to just do the swimming part first of all forward before backwards. And now, of course, I had also a lot of more encounters with my friends, but the distractions and the conversation got over all of these, and I just couldn't stand with that. So I started going all by myself. And even if it took me maybe 2 hours or 1 hours of my life after work, I would still do it. And I would just practice in the shallow water and move on to the deep water once there's somebody with me or once I feel comfortable. Those are my two options. But I can say confidently that finally I'm ready to say that I learned the freestyle, even if it's not a clean form, or maybe I will just go from being completely horizontal to a bit of a vertical way. And I already learned some percentage of floating. I was trying to learn the egg beater kick, one of the most difficult treading water technique, but because I found that the most effective and the one that will keep me on the surface for a long amount of time, I'm still trying to figure out which one should be my ideal one and not just rely on one, but to keep having those extra options in case. Now, I am already bullish about myself in many ways, but in the end, it's all about how concentrated I am and what can I bring on the table when it comes to show what you're actually made of. And now I learned how to finally do the freestyle. So that's already one accomplishment for me. And now I'm moving on to treading water. And after that, I'll be moving on to the backstroke. and then maybe some other kind of tricks in case if I'm more interested in this. But this is something, some kind of a motivational video or just simply some educational video for you to take action in what you're not good of and you would like to be good at. Because I see this as an essential skill and just a real life example of why does it matter to do all these. It might come in handy. Who knows? Well, maybe there's a flood in my city and I would have to survive in order to just live happily after and to not have all my years vanished just because I couldn't swim. I mean, I didn't really care about that. And what I want you to do is to have some form of emotional storm in you and not just be so neutral about it or happy about it, but you should take it seriously and personally that you're not good at something. And while others are just lounging around or doing effortlessly, and that should get you the motivation or the anger to move towards something, no matter what it is. Like I had a lot of fails when I was doing the freestyles. Maybe took some breath inside when I was in the water, or just swallow some water in my mouth, or even simply getting 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 water in my eyes, or who else, or I mean what else, and somebody else looking weird at me that I can't swim at this age. Whenever I have whenever I have a good physique. So these are the excuses, and to not have these excuses, you just have to be straightforward with yourself and go to that line, and don't let others open different kind of gates for you to exit. But this is your path. Now let me show you some of my pictures of how I look like and how do I look like now. To be honest, I really believe that this is a glow up, even though it's just a natural transformation. But because I'm able to just express myself and deliberately tell my intentions to others, that's all the improvement for me. And also to have the ability to try new things. That is something that most people would never do in their life until they are forced to do that. And that is something so magical and powerful once you understand that you don't have to wait for the life to test you. You have to create that because if you don't do it now, like I wasn't forced to do that. I could wait till life tests me if I know it or I don't. But instead, I had to be prepared for the incoming consequences that might come into my life. And the bad days are coming, I know that. And I'm going to be prepared for sure. At the end of it, all I just want to say and ask you is whether if you have any related fears to mine. It can be anything, and you can comment down below it, or maybe we can even have some chitty chat or call whether you like it because I'm really curious about your opinions, guys. It might be silly for me, and for some people it might be silly if I don't know how to swim. That's all right, and everybody has those flaws. I'm not going to let that stop me because most likely they are just jealous of some of my results, or either they are too bored to take care of their own business. And I know there's always some bad intentions behind it, and these people clearly don't know what is it to be humbled or just to have somebody who could absolutely destroy you, or maybe a father who will just humble you down or simply tell you the truth in life. They don't understand it really yet. But I'm going to move towards of my best and to improve myself. And that means even eating healthy or simply having more energy, expressing myself differently, or getting new groups of people in my life, networking, other kind of stuff, whatever is just something which is referring to delayed gratifications and will eventually provide you a really good life. That's what I'm looking towards to. So I'm asking, what kind of other fears do you have in your life? And how do you actually plan to fix them if you have ever thought about it? Because I'm always trying to implement these kind of strategies in my life. And what I meant by that is that my plans are not perfect. Even though I have some kind of contingency plans, but I'm not doing everything correctly and perfect. I'm just doing it as I see them correctly, but they might not be in practical way. So all I'm telling you just to do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it till you find it. Till you have that goal. And to be honest, that's all I wanted to say to you guys. I don't want to keep you too long in this video. It is just all about me and for your own sake. That's all I want to warn you about. And thank you guys for watching this video. Please have a wonderful day and take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next one.